everybody, Lord Tremendous here. Got another battle report here for you. Battle report number 66. This is game 2 of 3 of the Warbands tournament that I attended at ADEPTICON. Tis I, Lord Tremendous of the Ogre Cons, versus Eric West of the Warriors of the Dark Gods. This is an intense game. This got my best game of the series, whatever, favorite game, favorite opponent. Really intense game, really bloody game, really fun opponent, really cool list. This one has it all. You're going to love it. I'm excited to do it, so sit back, relax, and get ready to see how this one goes. So the scenario for this one was, again, right out of the book. The deployment was frontline clash, which is 12 inches in, 24 inches across, or from, one side to the other. And the secondary objective was secure target. There's a couple of blue poker chips on the table, and you have to have somebody securing it. Scoring unit has to be within, I think, 3 inches of it in order to count as scoring without any enemy scoring units around it. Pretty cut and dry, pretty simple, and yeah, let's see if I can remember the damn objective in this one. Here's my list, and it's completely the same from the last game, so if you've seen it, fast forward. If not, you just want to hear it again, here it is. I have my Shaman, Skaz. He's my General. He's got 3 learned spells, Talisman of Shielding, and he's using Thaumaturgy. I still have my Magnificent Khan. He's still my BSB. He's got his Ogre Crossbow, Heart Ripper, Yeti Furs, and of course the big name Troll Eater. And then, of course, I have the man, the myth, the legend, the Mammoth Hunter, Lord Tremendous. He's got his Ogre Crossbow, Obsidian Sword, Armor of Fortune, he's got the big name Headhunter, and he's on his trusty Tusker the War Teddy. Oh, yeah. For my core choices, I have my unit of 8, that's right, 8 Tribesmen, the good old boys. They have a full command, Iron Fist, and a Banner of Discipline. And then I have a unit of 16 Scraplings, the Randos, and all they've got is bows, because that's all they need. Starting off my special choice, I have my Saber-Toothed Tiger, Bow Wowzer, and a unit of 6 Scrappling Trappers, the Favored Pets. Making up my Chain Beast section, of course, is my Frost Mammoth, Rufus! A couple of Ogre Crossbows are towed along with the guys that he carries around, but he's the star of the show. Love Rufus. Then, of course, the enforcers of my army, my Rock-a-Rock Warhammer! And the rider with Lance on top of him is none other than Shyhammer himself. Pit stains, barbells, 2,000 pounds, a broken ambulance. Yeah, you don't want to mess with this guy. But anyway, that's my list. I'm going to post my opponent's list, play some music. Feel free to pause it whenever you like to see what he took. Here, my spells. I got Cleansing Fire and Wrath of God again, which is cool, and I ended up getting Smite the Unbeliever, which, it's a little random, but it's kind of a neat spell, and I'm excited to try it out against the Warriors of the Dark Gods. And here's deployment. I got the setup first, and I figured might as well go first, so I just threw everything down. It's Warriors of the Dark Gods. It's going to be a close combat army. Don't think I'm running into a gun line here. So I did. Shyhammer and Warhammer are right there in the middle, right next to the forest. I've got the good old boys with my BSB centered just because I figure they're coming right at me. I've got Rufus next to them to slow down anything that gets into combat with the good old boys. Bow Wowzer's right there. I don't really know where he's going to go, but he's going to be chaffed. That's going to be his job. Lord Tremendous is right there with the house in the way, simply because now he can go to the right or the left, depending on how my opponent sets up. I've got the Scraplings way over on the right, because I put a, what's it called? Objective right there, and I'm going to put my Scraplings right on top of it and just hold it. that's going to be their job. I like the idea of using them to hold objectives. They're really not going to do anything else. They've got their bow, so they can shoot at anything that gets, within 24 inches of them. That's what their job is going to be this game, because it's Warriors of the Dark Gods. I don't see charging them into anything. And then when it came down to it for my scouts, I ended up just putting them in the forest next to my Rock, simply because I could have put him up in the forest, I guess, up there, but his dogs were in the way. They were within 12, and then he vanguarded them. I would have been all right if he had vanguarded them first, but, be against the rules and stuff. And it's a tournament. I should probably play by the rules. I thought about doing 18 inches away, but by the time they got across and into anything, they'd be in combat and mostly useless. I figure at least over here, if something goes through that forest, they have to take dangerous terrain. Maybe not the smartest move in the world, but you'll find out in 6 turns. That's pretty much it for deployment. So here we go. Top of 1 after movement. I can't even begin to tell you how excited I am about doing this battle report. So, starting way over on the right there, the scraplings jump on top of the token, the objective, and they sit on it. And I do that on purpose like that for, number 1, I want to capture the objective. Number 2, I want my opponent to forget it's there. And if the scraplings are sitting on top of it the whole time, he's going to forget that it's there. That's my hope. That's my prayer. And they're scraplings. They're easily forgotten. His dogs vanguarded up really, really close, and they were far away from his generals. General's way over there on the left. So I thought, well, what are the odds his dogs are going to be able to, pass a terror check if Rufus charged them? So Rufus charged them. They, of course, failed their terror check, which was awesome, and fled away from Rufus. And they make it all the way back there. You can see them. They're in the woods over there. That's awesome. Puts them way out of position. And the odds of them rallying are pretty slim. He could send his general over there to try to get him in his leadership bubble, but that puts him out of position. He's got to come out of his unit. A lot of cool things could happen there. So again, I'm really trying to play the movement phase here. I like to control the movement phase. That's what I'm going for anyway. Whether or not I have any real luck with that is yet to be determined. Rock passes his frenzy check and just stays right where he's at. The good old boys, well, that's not true. He kind of tilts a little or wheels a little to the left. Not a big deal. The good old boys come up slightly. There's no real reason for me to go after my opponent. He doesn't even have, any shooting or anything like that. So he's got to come to me. I'm going to let him come to me. It'll be a little bit more fun. Bow Wowzer and Lord Tremendous move up in that little open gap there. I don't know what I'm going to do with him yet, but I don't think I'm going to be charging the Lord Tremendous, so I don't mind having Bow Wowzer there. And Skaz moves up to stay behind Rufus for cover and to get line of sight to stuff. And that's it for movement. There's a better picture of Rufus charging the dogs and them fleeing away from him, which was the hope. Nothing happens in Magic. I just couldn't get anything to work out. So in shooting, I believe my DSB has an ogre crossbow, fires, and skewers a dog. That's it. So we go over here to bottom of 1 after movement, and my opponent, exactly like I thought, comes flying forward. The Crushers come screaming around the left flank, around that hill. The Once Chosen go up on top of the hill. His little BSB guy hangs out in the back. I think that's a rock of his own, maybe Frostman, I don't know what the hell that thing is. No, that's his battle shrine. The big monster thing, that's his battle shrine. It comes forward, and so does his big unit, his 15-man unit of Warriors of the Dark Gods. They all come firing forward. The dog comes forward to try to bait the Rock, and that's it for movement. Also, the dogs that fled from Rufus did not rally and ran off the board. I think he rolled boxcars for him. So, 100 points. Thank you, Rufus. Good job. There's a better picture of the scene showing that the dogs are gone. Nothing else happens. He doesn't have a magic phase. He doesn't have any shooting. So here's top of 2 after movement. The Rock, I did not want him to charge the dogs. Unfortunately, even with the reroll, I couldn't roll an 8. So he goes batshit crazy and has to charge the dogs. And the dogs actually pass their leadership because his general's within 12 now. So, damn. His general's in with the Once Chosen up there on the hill. So the dogs make their terror check, and the Rock slams into him, and that sucks because he's going to overrun. Unless I overrun boxcars, I'm SOL. What can you do? Sometimes life's not fair. And the Twin Hammers there, they go a little crazy sometimes. It's all the protein. So what I do here is I try to salvage it. I don't want his Crushers going into the flank of the Rock, just simply because I like the Rock. So the Trappers come out of the forest to try to block that charge from the Crushers, which I think they're going to be able to do nicely. The, Good Old Boys and Rufus just kind of angle so that they can countercharge whatever charges into the Shyhammer and Warhammer to kill them next turn. The Bow Wowser moves up to get in the way of the Warriors of the Dark Gods. I almost want him to charge them. I would actually probably flee with him because Lord Tremendous runs straight up to flank charge anything that he can next turn. Meanwhile, Skaz stays kind of where he was, a little bit to the left of Rufus. Nothing really else to do with him. And the Scraplings, they just kind of wheel in place. I'm still covering up the objectives. I'm still claiming the objective, but if anything gets within 24 inches of him, I can throw some strength 3 shots at him. And that's it for movement. There's a better picture of Shyhammer, Warhammer slamming into the dogs. And you know what? I know Shyhammer's a dog person, so I don't know why he was in such a hurry to kill these. Maybe he just wanted to pet the puppies. I don't know. During the magic phase, I get Smite the Unbeliever off on his Warriors of the Dark Gods, just to Wasteland Warriors. I'm sorry, that's what they are. And I believe I lower their strength by 1, which is cool. I mean, either would have been great against those guys, but I think it's their strength, and that'll work. Then in the shooting phase, I'm not able to get anything else off of magic and shooting. I fire Khan's Ogre Crossbow into the Wasteland Warriors, and I think I skewer 1, maybe 2, which, hey, I'll take. We go into combat, and no kidding, the Rock with impact hits alone just obliterate the dogs. They go everywhere. I'm frenzied, I have to overrun, and I end up perfectly in the middle of all the Warriors of the Dark Gods. My opponent baited the hammers beautifully, and he's going to earn 490 points. There's really nothing I can do about it. The best I can hope is to countercharge after they destroy him, and maybe do a few wounds before he's obliterated. What can I do? He outplayed me here. So here's bottom of 2 after movement, and like we all knew it was going to happen, the Battle Shrine and the Once Chosen with his generals slam into Shyhammer and Warhammer. Nothing I can do about that. It is what it is. The Crushers slam into the Trappers simply because why not? It was there, and they couldn't get into the Rock anymore, which I'm fine with. They'll hit the Trappers. They're frenzied. They'll have to overrun. They'll be in the forest, take some dangerous terrains. Maybe I'll get lucky. Other than that, his BSB comes over the hill just to give his little bubble hold your ground. The Wasteland Warriors, they just turn to face my dog. He wasn't stupid enough to fall for that, especially at -1 strength. And that's it for movement. There's a better picture of his Once Chosen Battle Shrine slamming into my Rock and his Crushers slamming into my Trappers. And I know it's a weird bird's eye view and everything like that, but just take a minute and appreciate how beautifully painted and how beautiful his army is. I mean, it's really gorgeous. I found myself during the game just staring at it like envious, like, damn. Those look really good. Sorry, it just moment of artistic nature by Lord Tremendous. You're welcome. But seriously, look at these things. He's got no magic, no shooting. We go straight into combat, and they obliterate the Shyhammer Warhammer combo. They were just so much higher initiative than them, which I think they're 3 and 2. They got all their attacks before I got to do anything. They stood there, they took it, they died. And that's exactly what should have happened. My opponent played me beautifully here. He chose to overrun with both. He overran with the Battle Shrine first, then he overran with the Once Chosen, and they ended up like that. There's an inch between the Once Chosen and the Battle Shrine, but this gives me a beautiful counter charge, so I'm perfectly okay with it. And then in this combat over here, the Trappers were emboldened by what happened to the Scraplings last turn against Crushers, but these Crushers were so much better and murdered all 6 of those guys, so it wasn't a deja vu moment. Oh well. And they overrun through the forest, taking 1 wound for dangerous terrain. I guess it's better than nothing, like a consolation prize or a pity party, whatever you want to call it. So we go here to top of 3 after movement, and I go in. Rufus charges into the flank of the Battle Shrine and makes it. The good old boys charge into the Battle Shrine's front and make it. And that's great because if I can kill the Battle Shrine, which I don't see why I wouldn't be able to, I can overrun and hit with Rufus and the good old boys into his Once Chosen. The impact hits alone should take out a couple of those guys if I'm lucky. And I'll take it. I could use a little luck. Meanwhile, I thought about going into the front of the Wasteland Warriors with Lord Tremendous, but to be perfectly honest with you, I wasn't feeling lucky. I didn't feel it, so I decided to hold up. Bow Wowzer throws himself right in front of the Wasteland Warriors so they can't charge Rufus in the flank or anything, and Lord Tremendous runs over to their flank to continue to harass him. I would prefer to get Lord Tremendous into his BSB because with the Obsidian Blade, I think I'd have a shot, but if I can get a flank charge into Wasteland Warriors, I'm not stupid enough to turn that away. Skaz runs up front there into the middle of the board so that the Crushers can't charge him next turn, and the Scraplings, I don't even touch them. I leave them right where they're at because I want my opponent to forget that they're all over the objective. That's it for movement. There's a better picture of good old boys and Rufus slamming into his battle shrine, and I feel good about this counter charge. During the magic phase, I'm able to get Wrath of the Gods off, and I put it up on that hill right there to move his BSB, but if anything is still there, like his Once Chosen or whatever, they'll take some damage. Maybe if I'm lucky, even the Wasteland Warriors, but I don't want it to exactly hit any of my stuff, so I figure I'm taking a risk, but the reward could be really worth it. So I put it right there, and we'll see what happens. Nothing happens in shooting, we go into combat, and believe it or not, I did not kill his Battle Shrine. I won combat. I took a wound to my tribesman, and I think that was it. But I wasn't able to just destroy it. I broke it in combat. They had to run from the good old boys, and I pursue with both. We catch it. It's destroyed. Everything stays because it's frenzied or wrath or whatever. It doesn't give a shit, or it makes its leadership check. And since I had to chase after the War Shrine, I slam with the good old boys into the flank of the Once Chosen, and Rufus ends up into the Wasteland Warriors. I didn't see that coming. I honestly expected that everything to end up in the Once Chosen, and that didn't happen. So, really shocked, I'm not going to lie, but pleasantly surprised. And that's it for combat. So here's bottom of 3 after movement, and his BSB charges into the side of Rufus, and that's it. Well, that's not entirely true. His Crushers come swinging around to get into the rear of the good old boys, but what I'm hoping is that they're not there next turn. I'm hoping that they're way downfield. The Once Chosen are dead. His General's dead, and honestly, I'm hoping that his Crushers go after Skaz. I don't know. I might sacrifice Skaz. I haven't decided yet. I don't want to give up my General. That's a lot of points, but I don't want to give up the good old boys either because I like them, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, that's it for movement. There's a better picture of his BSB joining the fight. At the end of his magic phase, the comet does come down, and the gamble paid off. Only the Once Chosen were hit because I rolled low, thank God, and I am able to kill one Once Chosen off with that, which is cool. I mean, it was it was hoped that that was going to happen. His BSB was gone, or I would have hit him too. I didn't do a ton of wounds to the Once Chosen, but the ones that I did do got through, killed a guy, and hey, what more can you ask for? We go into combat, and it's not the worst thing that could have happened. Rufus ends up taking 4 or 5 wounds. He does 5 or 6 to the Wasteland Warriors. I don't do anything to the BSB because I'm not foolish enough to try that. I charge, and I got about 5 wounds to his charge, flank, BSB, banner, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wounds. I think he wins by 3 or 4. And he sticks. He actually makes his break check. I couldn't believe it. My opponent couldn't believe it. He's not stubborn or anything like that. He needed a 4 or 5 to stay, and he actually made it. I've never been so pleased. So yeah, we stand just like that. In combat over here, it's just as brutal as you would think. My good old boys are able to obliterate the Once Chosen. I think his General's all that's left. He auto breaks, and I lose 1 tribesman in the process, but he auto break, and I run his General down. I run a decent distance too. It's not quite enough to get away from the Crushers, but it's better than where I was. So I move them all the way up there. I tried to roll the leadership to turn to face, and I couldn't do it. I failed it with the reroll, so my rear is exposed. If he makes his charge, which I think he needs a 9 to do, they're screwed. So here's top of 4 after movement, and oh, that's right. I remember what happens now. Okay. So Lord Tremendous goes into the flank of the Wasteland Warriors. I know Rufus is dead, but I also know I can pick up the Wasteland Warriors because he stayed. So I'm not going to let his sacrifice be in vain. Bow Wowzer was going to come over to get in the way of the Crushers, but he failed his leadership check and couldn't march, so he couldn't get over there. So I just moved him out of the way so he wouldn't have to take a panic check when Rufus dies. I know what you're asking. Why, oh why, didn't the tribesmen go into the Wasteland Warriors? Didn't they turn to face the Crushers? Why didn't I do anything else with them? Well, my BSB has Troll Eater. He's stupid. And I failed my leadership checks. With the reroll, I failed to roll an 8 on 2d6, and they stumbled forward about 4 or 5 more inches. They're further away now, but oh, does that hurt. The only other thing I can think to do is I move Skaz over next to the Crushers just so they can't charge him. I'm not ready to give up my general, and that's it for movement. There's a better picture of Lord Tremendous slamming the Wasteland Warriors, and the good old boy's stupid because Khan is a troll eater. And there's a better picture of the good old boys stupid. Oh, you know, when you fail the stupidity check, it's always when it's just going to kick you right in the gut. We go straight into combat, and Rufus dies to the BSB. Lord Tremendous does a little bit of damage to the Wasteland Warriors. I think I lose this combat, but it's only by like one. Let me see. He's got 1 wound and a banner. And I do charge, flank, and a couple of wounds. You know, I think I actually win this combat, but I think he sticks it out. Nope, I'm wrong. He breaks, he flees, Lord Tremendous runs them down. And that's something. I'll take what I can get. It would have been nicer if I could have gotten in front and Lord Tremendous could have dealt with the Crusher charge, but unfortunately that's not going to happen. And, that's where he ends up. So we go over here to bottom of 4, and it's the worst parts of the Bible. The Crushers charge the good old boys. They're stupid. All they can do is stand, and I think he rolled boxcars to hit. It wasn't even close. His BSB runs around to watch the show, and that's it for movement. There's a better picture of his Crusher slamming to the rear of the good old boys, and that's going to go all kinds of wrong. We go straight into combat, and they obliterate my back rank. He does 13 wounds. In return, I do nothing. I made his armor look cooler. That's it. He wins by 4 quadrillion points. The only upside to this is that when I break and flee, I actually get away. His Crushers just stumbled over all the corpses, the ogres, I guess, and I get away by about 2 or 3 inches. I'm really, really lucky, and it gives me just enough hope to think that maybe I can turn and salvage this unit. Maybe. Here's top of 5 after movement, and the only thing that I can do is I can rally the good old boys, thank all that is holy, and I take Lord Tremendous and I march him the hell out of the charge arc of the BSB, and Skaz moves away so the BSB can't charge him. Bow Wowzer, I don't really know what to do with him, so I mostly leave him right where he's at, and that's it for movement. During the magic phase, I'm able to get another Wrath of the Gods off, and I put it right next to the Crushers because I know the good old boys are dead. There's nothing I can do about that. But if I can start killing off the Crushers, maybe I can get points for them, which I'm going to need because I'm about to give out a lot. Nothing else happens in my turn, so we go to bottom of 5, and I completely forgot to take a picture of bottom of 5 after movement. So, my bad. It's a tournament, there's a lot going on, and as you can see, this game is starting to get real nail-biting. It's been nail-biting since turn 3. So, yeah, you'll have to forgive me this lapse. The only thing that happens is that his Crushers, of course, charge the good old boys, they slam into him, and I'm able to kill one of them. I do 3 wounds, but in return, they kill all of my guys. And, everyone died. I think my BSB was left. I think they killed the unit. The BSB was left, and he got ran down when he broke. Sucks, but what can you do? And no, the comet didn't come down yet. So here's top of 6 after movement, and, oh, I'm sorry, also during his movement phase, his BSB came running into the field because he realizes at the last minute my scraplings are on the objective. I'm like, oh no, he sees it! So his BSB ran over into that field, so in order to try to stop that from happening, I bring Lord Tremendous over there, I bring Skaz over there, and I throw a Bow Wowzer in front of his BSB, so he cannot charge the scraplings. That's all I could do, and that's it for movement. During the magic phase, I get another Wrath of the Gods off, and I place it right in front of his, or right behind, I guess, his Crushers. The hope there is that one goes off at the end of my magic phase, hurts him, and then this one goes off at the end of his next magic phase and kills them so I can get those points. It's a desperate shot, but it's right at the wire. Look how close this game is. I don't even know if I'm going to win or if he's going to win. Crazy close game. Unfortunately, in order to get that spell off, I do it with overwhelming power, and it ends up being a miscast 10. I do lose the game, the spell for the rest of the game, but I'm lucky as hell. Skaz does not take any wounds. My opponent didn't. I always have my opponent roll for the wounds, and Skaz didn't take any. He rolled low. I got lucky as hell. Usually that doesn't happen for Skaz. Usually this would be where he kills himself or dies. So I guess I got to be happy. And you know, the I guess consolation prize was the comet still didn't come down, so oh well. So here's bottom of 6 after movement, and this picture is taken a little bit late. His BSB charges my dog. It has to take dangerous terrain because he makes a dog stance. He makes he takes dangerous terrain checks for charging through the field, fails both of them, and takes 2 wounds. Can you believe it? Then during the magic phase, my comet comes down and does enough wounds to kill off his Crushers, the one that I cast first. So that was huge. So his BSB is into my dog, and that's it. It's crazy what's happening in this game. There's been a picture of his BSB slamming in a Bow Wowzer, and that's fine. That's what he's for, and I couldn't believe that he put 2 wounds on this guy. We go straight into combat, because duh. The comet doesn't come down on the other side, but it doesn't matter. Crusher's already dead. The BSB attacks Bow Wowzer, and the rider does, and he only does 1 wound. He just rolled like straight garbage, right? So Bow Wowzer attacks back, because he actually went before the mount went, and does a single wound to my opponent, right? No, he does 2 wounds to my opponent. It was crazy. My opponent rolls, he's got a 1-up save, and he rolls a 1. He rolls like a 6 and a 1, right? So he saves 1, but he takes 1. Would have killed him, however, he's got the Dusk Stone. He gets to re-roll it, and he rolls high enough to pass his armor save. Bow Wowzer almost took down a Harbinger of Wrath. How cool would that have been? It didn't happen. The demonic steed that he's on ends up killing off Bow Wowzer, but man, he tried to go out like a champion. Never been more proud of Bow Wowzer. And his sacrifice made it so that the scraplings stayed on the objective. And yes, they take their leadership check and pass. I realized that at the last second, but thanks to Skaz being within 12 inches, perfectly fine. Woo! And there it is. There's the end of the game, and I was just looking over the notes before I started recording this particular section. I was wrong. The Crushers did not get killed. The comet came down, but it was short. The other comet that I cast second that I miscast to do, it never came down. So no, the Crushers are still alive. His BSB is still alive. Lord Tremendous, the Scraplings, and Skaz are still alive, and that's it. So sorry I misspoke. It's been a little while since I played this game, and it was such an intense game that I even forgot to take pictures. So I apologize. Now we're all straight. Now we're back on the same page, so life is good. But you know what? I can't wait to get into the recap, so we're going to go to it right now because, well, this game is over.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
So this actually was a victory for Lord Tremendous, and it's all because of the objective. I got 2,090 out of him, he got 2,319 out of me, ended up being an 11-9 in his favor. However, because I had the objective and he did not, I got +3, he got -3, which turned the game into a 12-8 for me. unbelievable. I ended up losing Khan, my tribesmen, my trappers, my saber-tooth tiger, Rufus, and the Rock-a-Rock. Unbelievable. Did I tell you? This cliffhanger, nail-biting game was decided by scraplings. Oh, I finally started paying attention to the objectives, and it paid off in a hair's breadth friggin' victory. Shouldn't have. I lost this game and won it due to the objective. How crazy is that? So, yeah, I can't say it enough. I should have lost this game. Had it just been straight up fighting and no objectives, I would have. And damn, just by a little bit. But thanks to the objective, just a 6-point swing, really. It turned into a 12-8 for me, and that's insane. It pays to pay attention to objectives in 9 days. What can I tell you? Trappers this game weren't quite as lucky against the Crushers. Maybe it has to be scraplings, I don't know, but those Crushers had no problem just decimating my poor Trappers. But they did what they were meant to do, and it sucks, but it's the way it should have been. And unfortunately in this game, Shyhammer and Warhammer got a little overzealous, charged some dogs, and then got their faces punched in for it. But that's what I bring them for. They're my enforcers. They're supposed to get into fights that nobody else wants to get into. But this game was amazing. I wish you could have been there to see it, because the whole time, I mean, I was on the edge of my seat. It was such a bloody game. From like turn 2, just blood everywhere. Which I guess you would come to expect from a, marked wrath army. I was really hoping at the end there that my tribesmen would escape, would be able to somehow get out of that charge ring. That stupidity failure just sealed their fate. What can you do? That's the gamble I take, and it hurt me this time. Bow Wowzer almost killed the BSB. If it hadn't been for the Duskstone, he would have killed the BSB, and that would have been awesome. I wish I could be telling you that story right now. And I can't say it enough. Using the scraplings for objective control is quickly becoming, I think, their go-to maneuver. If I can find some points after the tournament, I might take 2 units of scraplings just for that purpose. But this was an amazing game. This is the best game that I played, most fun, best game I played of the Warbands tournament. Not saying that my other 2 games weren't excellent. They were. But this game was the one that I wish every game could be like. You know what I mean? Just really, really close, really, really bloody, and in the end, just like a crazy twist end. This guy was amazing to play against. Mr. West, just thank you for the game. Really, really fun. Incredible game, incredible opponent, and I would literally pay money for a rematch against this guy. It was that much fun. And dude was cool the whole time. The whole time. Never got upset, never became dickish for either reason. Bad winner, sore loser, nothing like that. Had a ton of fun. And he's the opponent that everybody should strive to be like, win or lose. So yes, excellent game. Thank you very much. This is the part of the battle report where I get to say thank you to everybody that supports me financially through Patreon, PayPal, and other means. I've got a lot of generous donators, but most of which want to stay anonymous. These are the ones that allow me to thank them properly, and I will do so now. Alex of the Veil Renegades, South Florida's Gamermancy team, Daniel Jolson, and Caillou Choi. Thank you all very, very much. I really appreciate it, and I hope, especially after a game like this, that I'm continue to be worthy of your patronage. Thank you, everybody. But that's going to do it for this one, guys. Battle Report number 66 is officially in the history books. Game 2 of 3 of the Warbands tournament, and I've got a decent victory, I've got a slim victory, and Game 3 is a mofo. So yeah, don't miss it. It's going to be out as quick as I can put it out. ADEPTICON has not been a disappointment so far. These games were amazing, and you've been there through my battle reports, and it was, God, be there next year. Just be there next year. I don't even care if you play or not. Just be there. It was amazing. As always, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or complaints, feel free to put them in the comment section below. And as always, guys, thanks.